Hi everyone! As you may already know, I am leaving for a trip to Italy for not just a couple of weeks, but a couple of months. And so I have been designing all of the art supplies that I want to take with me. Now granted, I'm sure I can buy art supplies in Italy, but it's always nice to, at least for the first couple of weeks, not have to figure that out. So let me share with you what I'm taking for my 2.5-month European tour. I am spending a month in Rome doing a project on the umbrella pines. I am doing a little vacation in Florence, and then I spend a month in Venice, where really my dream is just to paint some watercolors by the canals and do some urban sketching and really get a feel for this magical city. I love Venice so much. And then we're going to jet off to Copenhagen, Amsterdam, and Paris. So with that in mind, there's a couple of things that I am bringing. Number one, for the umbrella pine project, I have two cameras. I have a color camera and I have an infrared camera. Actually, I think, yes, this is the infrared camera. With a 20mm lens. This is how I work on my Beyond the Visible Spectrum series, where I go in, I take infrared photographs of trees and then print it onto very lightweight Japanese tissue paper to embed into my encaustics. I have this beautiful 20mm lens, which should let me get the whole tree or a landscape. And because these cameras look so similar, I have put little custom hot shoe covers on them to tell the difference. So here I've got my infrared camera, and it's got this special hot shoe attachment, so I know this one's the infrared because these can look very, very similar. They're both Sony A7Cs. This is a newer one that shoots a little higher resolution. So I converted this one with Life Pixel to an infrared camera. I also have a fun little play lens. It is a Lensbaby Sweet 22. It's a 22mm lens with a with a sharp-ish center, and then it just goes completely out of focus on the edges, which I'm just going to play with. And then I have this very lightweight, very compact tripod. This will actually fit in the side pocket of my backpack. All of this fits in my Think Tank retrospective bag, which has a little pop-up for water, which is super handy. Let's talk about painting supplies. Obviously I can't take encaustic, but I am going to take some watercolors because I do love to sketch, and some pens. So this is what I am taking. And originally I was going to just create a very limited palette to fit in this cute little Winsor Newton portable palette. And I have a mix of Daniel Smith and Winsor Newton watercolors. And then on Amazon I found this. And I didn't have to decide what colors I was going to take. So I have 51 colors of watercolor that I can have at my disposal. And I can trade these into here so that when I'm out doing some urban sketching, I can take what colors I have. I'm starting off with colors for Rome. So I've got some quinacridone gold, I've got some Jasper Genuine, I have some red Aussie gold, I've got some Cascade green, I've got some raw umber, a lemon yellow, and some alizarin crimson, some blues, some blacks, and I think this is a greenish umber, German greenish umber. And then when I'm in Venice, I can pick more greens and blues, all that sort of stuff. And this folds up really nicely. It's got water, it's got a little teeny tray. If I wanted to bring all my colors, I could use this as a mixing tray. And then I've got some Neocolors, and I have this is a little flexible cutting board that I've cut up to fit in here so I can use it as a palette. And I just have a mix of colors here. Some of them I've broken in half so I can have extra colors. I have a cute little artist trading card set, which will be fun. I've got some sharpeners for those crayons. And then in my little bag here, I have a little bit of white in case I want that. I have a couple of watercolor pencils for sketching. And then let's see, I got some Tombow pens, I've got a brush pen, I've got some Staedtler fine line markers. I have a Derwent water-soluble graphite. And then I have these cute little travel brushes. They're not the best, but they're so convenient. I got them off of Amazon. They were not very expensive. So I've got a couple of rounds. I've got this sort of angled brush. I have a square. I also think I'm going to bring this little dagger brush from They're a Korean brand. I really like their brushes. This is the same company. They make beautiful brushes for watercolor. They are hard to order from in the United States right now. And then this is just a silly little brush I bought. And then a little pipette for putting water in my palette. And all of that fits in this cute little Ringmaster of the Shit Show bag. So very easy to just throw in a bag and take on location. And then I have these little daily sketchbooks where I do warm-ups. So I'm bringing one blank, especially for Italy. I have this little, I don't know, is this a moleskin? I don't even know what this is. I've had it forever. This little journal by Speedball, actually. And I have like literally only drawn one thing in it. And I'm like, well, this seems like a nice size for Italy. I'm going to take that. I am going to take a little block of watercolor paper. I know I'm going to the land of Fabriano, but it's just something to start out with. I am sure my bag is going to be stuffed with watercolor supplies on the way back. And then I have this little travel journal. This is a nice size. I brought this the last time I was in Italy, and it's a nice size for being out there and sketching without being too small. You know, it's a 8x8, which is a really nice size. And then I have this little moleskin. It says it's a watercolor book, but honestly, it is more multimedia because it's not great for watercolor. But what I'm doing while I am in Italy is really learning about my pigments. So I started it already because why not? So I'm using this paper as color studies. So I can put out the pigments, see how they blend together, how they work. And you can see how this paper is just not fabulous for watercolor. It really wrinkles, but it's nice and portable, and I really loved the color. Here I started playing around with what colors I wanted for Rome so I could pack up my little Winsor Newton. And here I've got Queen Gold, Aussie Red Gold, Burnt Sienna, Yellow Ochre, Red Jasper, thinking about the colors of the architecture in Rome, and then playing around with what color sky is going to really make it pop. So here's cerulean blue, here's a lavender sky, here's a manganese blue, which I love, ultramarine turquoise. I'm feeling like this is more Venice than Rome. This ultramarine blue could be really pretty. And so what I'm going to do is I have made these little templates so I can just pick 5 colors, play around with the pigments, see how they work together, see how they react to each other, and if I like the colors. Now, if I really love something, I probably should go back and do some studies on this paper because this paper really makes the colors pop. And it is, what is this? I believe this is hot press. I'm not exactly sure, but it's very smooth surface, which is sort of nice to really see how those colors blend. But this was inexpensive. It's super portable and something that can sit in my bookcase as, you know, a resource for later. And then I have these clamps here. For some reason, I can only find one of them right now, so I am searching my studio for the second one. But these are nice for when you're painting. You can clamp that page down so that you don't have to use a ton of tape trying to make your pages flat. So this is all going in my bag. I might leave a little sketchbook for the plane. This is coming with me on the plane, obviously. This is just going to fit right in my backpack. So here are my art supplies for a 2.5-month trip to Europe. So I already have plans of buying some beautiful watercolor paper and maybe some more raw pigment, especially in Venice. But I'm curious, what do you take when you're on the road, even if it's for a weekend or for, like me, a 2.5-month stint? Let me know, and let me know what I should take that I've forgotten.